I'm Emma, and this is Gabe, and we're sitting down with Taylor today, Tilt's COO, and we're super excited to dive right in and talk about HR in general, technology, where everything is headed, and how that pertains to leave management. So kind of to kick things off, let's talk about how HR teams' needs have changed when it comes to managing employee leave, just overall.
Yeah, I think that for me, it's a reflection of just the broader changes in how people work. Leave is a necessary part of every employee's experience at some point. And so when I look at just how work is changing, that's what HR has to grapple with. And we live in a world where the skills needed to be successful are evolving faster than ever. Sort of like the half-life of a skill has gotten shorter and shorter. What that means for companies broadly is that they need to be much more fluid and nimble in where their best talent is, understanding who has what skills, capabilities, so that the right talent is in the right place. And so in a world where talent needs to be fluid, leave needs to be fluid. And so that's where I think that solutions like what we're focused on every day at Tilt become critical, which is you need scale, you need consistency, you need something that's efficient, but you need something that's deeply human, because HR professionals are also facing that turnover is high. The best talent has very high expectations. And so your leave experience needs to match those expectations if you want the best talent so that your company can succeed.
How would you describe kind of the way leave has been managed by HR that's been hindering some of that ability to adapt to the changing workplace?
Yeah. First of all, I'll say that I think HR is and HR leaders and all members of HR teams are some of the most unsung heroes in our business world, right? Like they're the ones caring about the people. They very regularly face fewer resources than would be ideal to deliver on building a great environment for people to do great work, but they still make it happen. And that's incredible, right? So I think that's what is really critical in my mind when we think of leave as a portion of the responsibilities for an HR team, is that a lot of times it's been pushed onto them as one more really challenging thing. And so the question is, how do you move from that sort of just being more reactive to something that can be proactive of, hey, we know leave is going to happen. Leave is part of life. Leave is the intersection of how life and work come together for the people that actually do the day-to-day. And so for HR, if you can get to a place where you're more proactively seeing partnership with managers and partnership with the employees going on leave so that people have plans in place, so that expectations are clear, that's what allows a business to make plans around leave, because leave is going to happen. The question is, how prepared are you as a business to manage it well?
We kind of talk about, the why now is this idea of employee turnover and hanging on to top talent and the importance of leave now. But, these things haven't changed necessarily. This isn't a new thing. So do you have any insight onto what is happening now that we should care, or, why people need to start jumping on board with this?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I completely agree. Leave is not new. And I think it's about whether as a business, you're ready to embrace that this isn't just an administrative function. It's not just a regulatory compliance element, although those are true. Those are elements of leave. The question is, can you be expansive enough in your thinking to see leave as an opportunity? Because I think most companies don't. It's like, oh man, yeah, we got to do it. Law says so. What if you flip it on its head and you say, you know what? Leave happens because it's part of that intersection of life and work coming together. And what if we were thoughtful enough in balancing the needs of business with the needs of the people that help our business run, so that leave actually feels great? And then that creates a deep sense of loyalty. It drives not only, a reduction in turnover, but deep loyalty through how you approach that interaction with the people that drive your business. Almost every company say that their people are their most important asset, but I think how leave is handled at most companies demonstrates that most people don't walk the walk on that. And leave is one of those things that is so pervasive across all employees that it's a great opportunity to show how you are walking the walk. So that to me is like the core of this. It's almost like a philosophical concept of like, people work because they need to make money to live. But great work is when people find passion for their work. They find, a place that appreciates them and they feel appreciated. And leave can be part of that mutual benefit that is not just transactional, not like, hey, I show up to get a paycheck, but I care about this company and they also do care about me. And they show that through things like how they managed my leave.
How would you say would be, like, when we're talking about just the general impact of leave of absence that it can have on a business, and especially where the workforce is going and how people need to feel more supported. If you were in HR and you were the COO of a different company that maybe wasn't about leave of absence, like, what kind of advice would you give to help paint that picture to leadership to kind of drive that point home?
I like to present the concept to other leaders of why leave is worthy of their strategic consideration, because it's a significant challenge. If on the surface you didn't even tell them you're talking about leave, if you walked into another, CHRO or COO or CEO office to have a conversation, you said, hey, I can tell you about a problem that will impact 10 to 15% of your workforce, that will impact their productivity and therefore your ability to achieve your goals. Do you want to just let it happen, or do you want to proactively come up with some solutions? Like, without even saying the word leave, I think when you frame it that way, it's a pretty meaty opportunity. And then if the next part of it is, and guess what? If you do it right and you don't screw it up, it's going to do things like retain your best talent and help people be so excited about your company that they try to recruit their friends to work there as well. Pretty sure if you position it that way, the next question on their side, what are you talking about? Help me understand this thing. And you're like, leave management. Like, well, we already do that. Well, how's it performing for you? Like that would be the question. That would be the framing for me. If I was not at Tilt and I was thinking about this for a company that I was leading, is what are the levers that I can use to retain and attract the best talent and help them perform at the highest capacity? So that we can be successful as a company. It's like, yeah, I know we need to give good health benefits. It's real. I think leave as one of the highest frequency employee experience points that has a direct impact on performance of company, that people aren't actively pursuing more proactive strategies to find the value in it, find the mutual benefit between company and employee.
Yeah, that aligns really well with how just employee engagement seems to be like the new battleground for a competitive, talent attraction, for sure. Sorry,
we're talking a lot about how it's important to implement leave management to help scale your business, grow your business, retain top talent. From that perspective, then how important is it for an HR person to pursue a solution that is going to scale with them and that is, has their growth in mind as a priority for, product enhancement and involvement?
Yeah. The job of HR professionals is shifting rapidly. Arguably, it's changing more at a higher velocity now than it has in 50 years. And so I think it's therefore incumbent on the HR leaders and HR team members that want to do great work to say, what parts of my job do I need to do that are critically, person to person, specific to our business, and where can I look for leverage from other partners? And the great news is that leave is one of those places where a company like Tilt gives you that leverage. You don't need to do all of it. And in fact, we can de-risk it. We can approach it from a time saving for you perspective, a compliance perspective, a culture perspective, but that we still give you a lot of space to own the parts of leave that you need to own as your company. How is it a reflection of your culture? What is the definition of your policy? So on and so forth. So it's this, what I think, really elegant opportunity for HR professionals to find a ton of leverage, get time back, get cost savings, but also it's not while they're giving ground to being the owners and leaders of culture, of impact, of employee experience.
Absolutely.
What would you say?
I'm making this all up as we're going here.
You're doing great. You're doing really good. Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you.
You want me to be more like, are you looking for shorter, tighter, or is the length like for clips or something? Okay.
No, it's great. Yeah.
We'll be able to splice that out on our end without problem. We've got tools for that. So yeah, no, this is great.
We have about 4 minutes left before Taylor needs to hop. So
yeah. I would be a little curious about, when it comes to Tilt specifically, what excites you the most about the way in which Tilt solves the leave of absence management problem, I guess we could call it, and how do you envision the evolution of Tilt addressing those needs down the line as well?
Yeah. I'll describe it from two different directions. One is from the employee experience of leave that I think is a massive opportunity. And then the other is the HR experience of it. So starting with the employee piece of it, leave feels complex, confusing, overwhelming. It's dominated by forms that were built by governments based on laws that are hard to understand. It's like from a world that really values good user experience. Hey, I want my rideshare app to make a car show up and take me anywhere in 5 minutes. Leave experience, broadly speaking, couldn't be more opposite. Painful, hard, manual, complex. So what if we brought leave experience for me as an employee and like, what should I expect? What are the next steps? How do I make this easier? How do I not fill it out in triplicate? What if we brought that to the future? Like, that's what we want to do. We want this to be a good experience, not just like, hey, I was able to get through it. Like, that would be powerful, especially because sometimes leave is something that surrounds a good moment in life. Sometimes it surrounds some of your most challenging moments in life. And whether it's something like celebrating that, your family brought a new child into your family, and that you want all the space in the world to focus on that versus paperwork, or it's something that is some of the most challenging moments of your life. You lost a loved one and you're on bereavement leave. Paperwork is the last thing in that moment, ideally, that person has to manage. So employee experience needs to step into the current moment and into the future. On the HR side, I really see it as a great example of this intersection of all these complicated factors. What is our company culture? What is our company policy? What's federal law? What's state law? A bunch of state laws are changing. We have employees in a bunch of different states. So are you going to pull out the laws for, the tens of states that are establishing their own leave laws? You probably don't have the time to do that. There's nothing better suited to address this than scalable software that repeatedly helps you make the right choices that are compliant, so you can go focus on the most important thing, which is your employees and their experience. So that to me is like why this is a massive opportunity. It's really hard. A lot of it gets really complicated, but that's why we exist, because that's valuable to get it right.